Let's talk about that breaking news then. ITV have appointed external lawyers to investigate the facts following Phillip Schofield's statement and his then departure from this morning.
Joining us down the line to tell us more, we have media lawyer Paul Gilbert. Paul, thank you for joining us. This has just broken. I mean, they're announcing that they're going to bring in a barrister to carry out an external inquiry. When organisations, corporations and businesses do this, it usually follows some serious questions about the rigorousness of their internal investigations. So ITV handing this to someone outside of the organisation, I think is a decent move. It makes it look like an organisation that wants to get to the truth. But it also raises yet more questions about their own investigations. You wouldn't need an external investigation if your internal investigations had been any good at all, would you?
I do see that point, Kevin, although it is worth saying, we see this happening an awful lot now, where what an organisation will do is will say, OK, you're not satisfied with what we did internally. That's you, the public, you, the shareholders, whoever it might be. So let's bring in an independent KC, an independent lawyer who's going to conduct an investigation. And I think from ITV's point of view, I mean, based on the quick read I've had of that statement they put out, they seem to be quite confident about the investigation they undertook. It's simply that the public or the reaction to what they've said about the investigation has not been sufficiently positive. So they said, OK, we'll bring in a KC and we hope it will show that the investigation was thorough at the time.
Yeah, they're given more details of exactly what that investigation was at the time. I've got the statement here, the letter, and they've said, look, both parties were questioned and then both categorically and repeatedly denied the rumours. We knew that before, but they're saying, in addition, ITV spoke to a number of people who worked on This Morning and the wider Day team. They weren't provided with, couldn't find any evidence of a relationship beyond hearsay and rumour. This is ITV coming out to bat a bit, isn't it, to say, look, we think we did the right thing here at the time. And they're saying they even continued to investigate up until a month ago.
Yeah, you're quite right, Rosie. And it's extraordinary, actually, how much more detail we are now getting that ITV didn't seem to feel they needed to give us before now. And I think that is an indication. And I think, Kevin, you're right. They are concerned about how they see this panning out at the moment. But you see, what's interesting about the way they described that investigation is that because the other thing it said is that they spoke both to Phillip Schofield and to the runner, and both of them categorically denied that there was any relationship. And you do sort of sit back and say, well, OK, if they've done that, they've searched around to see what other evidence they got. There's no one else that will confirm it categorically. It's all hearsay. What more could they have done? And there's an interesting, I think, way of looking at it, which is even if they had found someone else who said, oh, we think there's a relationship happening, if they had then gone to both Phillip and the runner and they categorically denied it, I don't know that they would have come to a different decision about what should happen. I mean, ultimately, it's an issue around employee relations and the duty of care that employers have towards their employees, and whether that was properly investigated at the time. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see who is appointed to look into this. I suspect someone with an employment law background, you know, having looked into it, what the conclusions are that arrived at. But, I mean, based on that description of the investigation, I don't see anything that would cause an independent KC to come to a different view. But it depends on, I suppose, the extent to which the KC is allowed to investigate what the KC is allowed to look at. It's going to be absolutely fascinating.
If I was clever enough to be a KC, which I'm not, and they appointed me to do this external investigation...
I think they should, Kevin.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. My first question would be, is it an adequate investigation when basically the chronology is this? Phillip, are you having an affair with that young runner? No, I'm not. Young runner, are you having an affair with Phillip? No, I'm not. OK, case closed.
But it wasn't case closed.
That is not a very good investigation, is it?
Well, not the way you describe it, but I think as
Well,
Rosie
that's
was
all
about
they're
to say to
saying,
you,
Paul. That's all they're saying.
No,
They're saying we asked him and he said no.
They're saying they asked the
No,
wider team
that's
as
what
well.
they are saying, but yeah, they are. I mean, it's not simply actually on the This Morning production team. They went and asked questions. They're saying they looked wider within what they call the daytime TV production. I don't quite know what that means, but presumably it's other people within ITV responsible for daytime television, and they couldn't find anything that was anything other than hearsay or rumour. So I don't think it was simply that simple question. Although I do take your point that you asked that question, but then what else could you ask? And I mean, as long as the way that the questions were asked, the circumstances under which they were asked was done appropriately, then if that's the answer they got, what else could they have done?
Yeah, that they've said we consider our approach was reasonable and proportionate at the time and in the circumstances. We believe we didn't have grounds to mount any other sort of investigation. The other thing that's interesting, Paul, here is they've said there's been a lot of inaccuracy in the reporting, so I thought it would be useful to set out some facts. There's lots of different sides of this, aren't there? And from the perspective of being a media lawyer, people have got to be careful in the sort of aspersions that they're casting on people who were involved at the time.
Yes, they do. They have to be very careful. And I'm sure Kevin would agree with me on this. I don't think ITV have covered themselves in glory in relation to the way that they have handled themselves in respect of this, because you're bound to ask, why didn't all this information come out a lot earlier? Because it would have made things clearer. And you're also right. You've got to be very careful about how you set things out. But they've given an account now with detail. Why couldn't they have given that account at the weekend, before Eamon Holmes gave his interviews to GB News?
Let me ask you this, Paul, legally. It is being reported that this young runner was paid off. The amount is being speculated about, but some people are saying it was £300,000, and that the ITV paid him off in order to buy his silence about the affair and to shuffle him off to loose women where he would cause no more problems. Now, we don't know the veracity of that story, but the Daily Mail is running that story. ITV have not responded to it. They've been given many opportunities to deny it, and they have not. Now, if that is the case, if they used ITV money, £300,000, to pay off this guy for silence over an inappropriate affair with a much older man, 34 years older. What's the legal situation? That surely is not the correct use of corporate money, is it?
Because we're talking about the use of what are known as NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. I think we're all well aware of the controversy around them. Started with Harvey Weinstein and has developed since then. They're not regarded as the sort of agreements one should be entering into. Mind you, this was, a couple of years ago. Well, we don't know when this took place, do we? I mean, there's another interesting legal issue that arises with this, which is that the nature of a non-disclosure agreement is that neither party disclosed the existence of the agreement. And so it may well be that ITV legally can't talk about it because they've signed an agreement to say they can't disclose it, just as he signed the agreement that he can't disclose it. So there may be a legal reason why ITV can't deal with it, but it's all speculation, isn't it? So we don't actually know. Don't know if a payment was made, how much that payment was. But certainly it's an issue for a commercial organisation as to the use of their money and the appropriate use of their money. Particularly in relation to an issue like the use of an NDA in these circumstances.
Paul, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Paul
Paul
Gilbert is a media lawyer. Just a couple of things on that statement that might help clarify things a little bit. The first, Kev, is we have to stress that ITV have said there's been lots of inaccuracy in the reporting, so I thought it would be useful to set out some of the facts. That is a note of caution about speculating, but also you talked about the role of that runner and how he was moved onto loose women. According to ITV, in the statement that's only just been released in the last half an hour, they say he secured a job as a runner on the show. He was age 19 when he first did the work experience, age 20 when he got the job as a runner. He subsequently applied for and was successful in securing a promotion to Loose Women in 2019. So they say he applied for the job and got the gig, and it was a promotion. ITV's words.
Why is it a promotion?
I don't know why it was a promotion. I don't know exactly the role he had.
Those are
on
ITV's
Loose Women.
words. Yes, that's ITV's laying out their facts.
As you can imagine, this story is going to cause a bit of a stir. There'll be